This is WELSTech, a show that explores the intersection of technology and ministry. WELSTech is a part of the Streams Media Network sponsored by WELS, the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. Your show hosts are Martin Spriggs and Sally Draper. Join the conversation at wellstech.wels.net.
Hi everyone, and welcome to WELSTech episode 351, coming to you on Tuesday, July 22nd, 2014, coming to you live from Martin Luther College in New Ulm, Minnesota. My name is Sally Draper, and as you can tell probably already, I am doing a solo act in front of the podcast microphone today. My podcasting buddy, fearless leader, Martin Spriggs, is away on vacation this week, hoping he gets back to work pretty soon, all refreshed from a nice summer break. And I am holding down the fort here as best I can. I'd love it if you would join me on today's live podcast by asking questions or giving comments using the Google Hangouts Q&A tool. We do this live show every Tuesday at 4 p.m. We also archive the show on our show notes website, wellstech.wels.net. So if you can't catch us live, be sure to download the audio or video podcast from the WELSTech site and enjoy. This week we are continuing our look at the WELSTech Wiki. The WELSTech Wiki has existed for, I would say, almost as long as WELSTech, certainly over 6 years. We've had this wiki site out. For those of you that aren't familiar with wikis, they're basically collaborative websites, so multiple people can contribute information to the website. They're set around informational topics, and ours is all about technology and ministry, just like the WELSTech podcast focus. And so over time, quite a bit of content got added to the WELSTech Wiki in all different areas of technology and ministry. And it was really time for us to do some refreshing of the wiki. We wanted to move it to a new website that didn't have advertising on it. And we just wanted to, in general, do some spring cleaning with the contents of the WELSTech Wiki. So that's what we've been working through all summer. Just kind of bit by bit making our way through all the great content that's out on the wiki. It's serving as a great reminder to us of the content that's there, the reference materials that maybe we want to make use of in our churches or schools, and also just a chance to get some new contributors as well. Let me do a quick screen share. And for those of you watching the video, you should be able to see the wiki screen now. And you can tell at the very top that there's a button that says Request an Account. You can use that link, fill out a really short request form, and we'll get you added as an editor on the wiki. And it's super simple to edit. When you're an editor, you have a little edit icon. It looks like a pencil up in the top. And when you click that icon, you can make changes to the page and then save them. We've organized the wiki in these main topics available here in the left navigation: Bible, church, communication, infrastructure, office, planning and policy, and school. So we're hoping that all the content on the wiki fits nicely in at least one of those categories. And this summer we've just been working our way through the categories, looking at the different content that's included there. Currently we're in the infrastructure section. A little challenge for me to say, infrastructure, and we have made our way through the beginnings of hardware. Last week we looked at audio and some training and troubleshooting resources. This week we're going to focus on video, and this is video from the hardware perspective, and we have several categories included in that video section of the wiki. Now the categories are automatically alphabetized. Maybe that's not the most logical ordering of the topics, though, but you can see a variety of things in alphabetical order there. And I'm going to actually kind of work from the bottom up, just because I kind of like that order better. So at the bottom of the video list is a topic on video cameras. And as you might expect, there's some good information about the different types of video cameras that are available and information on choosing the right camera. A lot of emphasis is placed on the level of video camera, consumer versus prosumer versus professional. And then there are also PTZ cameras explained on this page. PTZ are basically remote control small cameras that allow you to pan, tilt, and zoom. Thus, PTZ. Pretty catchy title, huh? And some of these are controlled by a unit where you could have multiple cameras in your setup and control it at one unit from a video control board. So again, information on this page about those different options. Some specific models are referenced, different people contributed, what their setups are. We certainly would love to hear from you and have you update this page with more information about different video camera setups that use in your congregation. I think over time many congregations have done that kind of thing, set up for video, for recording services, for television, for live streaming, that kind of thing. So if you have experience, if there's a camera that you like in particular, be sure to create an account and update this page with that information. Not necessarily a hardware thing, but the use of the hardware is a page dedicated to video camera techniques. So once you have your video camera, some techniques, and this is specifically around videoing of sermons. So it kind of gives you examples of good camera angles and bad camera angles, lighting issues. You know, this one in particular, the image ratio is a little bit skewed, so that's not good. So just kind of giving you some ideas of things to avoid and good examples as well. And there's explanations provided with each of these. If you have more to add here, we'd certainly welcome it, but I think it's good just to see some examples and learn from those. There is a section of the wiki dedicated to projectors, and again, this could probably be enhanced, but it does include some information about specific projectors as well as software to use, worship software to use with video projection. And I know there's more out there than what's represented on this page, and we probably need to do some more work on this page to bring it more up to date. And I'd certainly welcome it if others wanted to jump in. I know I can probably add some links to different podcasts we've done on this particular topic that aren't represented here yet. So update the projectors page, but look here for information on those, not just the hardware projectors, but also the software that goes along with. This is an interesting page for me as we move the wiki. It's on monitors, and it gives you an idea of how you might use monitors to monitor the work that you're doing in a video setup. And, to me, you just put a camera and you look through the eyepiece, but it's a little more complex than that, especially if you're doing multiple things with your video. Maybe you're projecting with one computer, you're live streaming with another, and there are different feeds going to the projection versus what's going to your streaming or closed circuit television connections to other areas of your church or whatever it may be. So the monitor page just kind of explains the different reasons you might have monitors and things that you might use the monitors for. It's kind of a learning process for me. I've not been in such a big video production. I'm used to Google Hangouts. It's a little simpler than all the things that are described here. Live video production, another example of a page that I wasn't familiar with all the different techniques. When I think live video, my mind was jumping to live video streaming, but this actually has to do with projecting video in the service, projecting video potentially in multiple locations on site, having video projection that's large enough for large audiences, perhaps even using a technique that I learned about by reading here called image magnification, and there's actually a whole page dedicated to image magnification, which is described as being a magnified camera on a particular speaker. So you guys probably have experienced this. I know I've seen it at LWMS conventions and at Synod convention where there's a camera just dedicated to the speaker podium that's zoomed in very close so that the audience feels as if they're sitting very close to the speaker. It's not just a camera from the back of the room, but it's one that's zoomed in so you can see the speaker is standing in front of you, but he may look really tiny from where you're sitting. But you can look at this large image magnification version and see an up-close version of what the people in the front are seeing as the speaker is delivering his address. So more information about image magnification on the wiki as well. And then finally, there's a page dedicated to additional video hardware. So these are things like video mixers, matrices, and switchers. And again, your mileage may vary. You're going to come up with different hardware architectures depending on your needs. But there are several explained here, and it gets kind of technical, but I think that's the kind of information you need when you're dealing with all these different inputs of video and then trying to output it into multiple locations. So read through this, especially if you're getting ready to invest in some video equipment. I think having that understanding of additional video hardware would be super helpful. All right, guys, I think I made it through all by myself the WELSTech Wiki video section under infrastructure hardware. Next week we're going to be moving on in the infrastructure category. And let's see what's next. We're going to focus on this networking section. So looking at content filtering, at servers and server software, at maintaining your network, at cloud services, all those different topics. And man, am I glad that Martin's going to be back for next week's podcast, because this is definitely not my forte. I rely on my favorite tech guys to take care of networking issues. So, but I can also rely on the WELSTech Wiki, because there's a lot of great information out there, and we want to just share it with you and refresh it and hopefully make it even more valuable. So tune in next week for the next edition of the WELSTech Wiki migration efforts. All right, time to move on then to my solo tips and picks. And I have a couple of those for you. One is a blog post. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to a blog post. It's from the Church Juice blog. And the topic of the blog is why your church needs a good website. And I think this is just a good read. It was just recently published, and it's short. It gives you 4 good reasons why you need a good church website, and it maybe will reinvigorate your website efforts. The topics covered include your online presence is your first impression. So there are church shoppers out there, definitely. It's the only online platform you actually control. I love that point, because I think a lot of people invest a lot of their communication strategy around Facebook or whatever it may be, but that could change and you don't have any control over it, whereas your own brand, your own website, your identity, your domain, you control. And so you can decide when you want to change it, if you want to change it. Bulletins don't make it home. So definitely moving away from the world of paper to more information be accessible online, and your website is that platform to share that information. And then finally, it's a basic expectation, not something special. So I think the word for that is ubiquitous. It's become the norm, and you actually would be abnormal and odd and behind times somewhat to not go ahead and have a decent church website. So again, real short read, but I thought it was good, invigorating information to rededicate yourself to the church website effort. All right, that's my tip of the week. My pick of the week is actually in relation to a class I'm teaching currently for Martin Luther College through their continuing ed program. The class is basic image manipulation, so we don't get too deep into serious Photoshop techniques or anything like that, but I think it's really neat that there are many web-based image manipulation tools, editing tools, creation tools available. It just takes a little bit of a time investment to learn how to use them and produce some really great image results. And of course, longtime WELSTech listeners, watchers will know that I'm a huge fan of PicMonkey, and we spend a lot of time in class using PicMonkey.com to edit images and create collages and things like that. But this round of class, I introduced a new tool, and that's my pick of the week. I'll do a quick screen share for those watching video. If you aren't watching, then you can just use your fingers to navigate on over to Canva, CANVA.com, as in a canvas, a blank canvas, but it's Canva.com. And Canva is basically, well, I think of it as more like a online desktop publishing. Online desktop. That doesn't make very much sense, does it? A desktop publishing software in the cloud, because it's a little more robust than just a plain old image editing site. It allows you to create different things, and they give you some really professional looking layouts to get you started. So if you go to Canva, you can create an account super quick and easy, and they really have a good introductory tutorial thing that they walk you through. It takes about 5 minutes or so to go through their tutorial, and you'll be all set to go because it's really easy to pick up on. When you're logged in, you get a lot of different design layouts and dimensions to start with. So I'm going to actually pick the invitation size, and once you select one, then the editor loads, and they give you a bunch of different layouts. So you could begin with one of their existing layouts, add your own imagery, change the text of it, change coloring and layout, however you want. But they give you some really nice starting points. I'm going to scroll down the ways. There's one in particular I was looking for. And just give you an example. So oftentimes when you add new content, it'll have these image areas, kind of placeholders that you can drag your own images into. They typically look like this hills and clouds little cartoony place, but that's just telling you put your own image here. So you can go to the upload option and you can upload your own images. I have a few already uploaded, so I'm going to drag one of mine right in there. So there I am sitting at, by the way, in case you didn't notice, I'm sitting at a new desk this week. I have a new office, and I was just really, really happy to be able to share that office with you guys and a new podcasting setting. So I'm going to quick edit this. It's super easy. If I don't like colors, I can easily change colors, put in hex codes for whatever colors I want to include. So maybe I would put today's date. I've been having trouble with my keyboard. We'll see if it actually types what I'm telling it to. I think it did, and I think I typed it wrong. I'm going to put today's date, July 22nd, 2014. And I didn't get quite all of that. And then on the next one, I'm going to put WELSTech, number 351. And our title for today, Smile. I'm going to get rid of the others, just pressing the trash can button. And there you have it. I did a quick layout. If I don't like things about it, for instance, perhaps I wanted to change the background. I could come here and pick a different color for the background, you know, whatever I'd want to do. Lots of options. I could do a different background completely. So plenty of choices here. When I'm happy with it, I just click the link and publish. And at this point, Canva may tell you that you've selected images or backgrounds that have a price tag to them. Some of their components cost $1, $2, that kind of thing. So if that were the case, it would kind of come up with a total and a place for you to pay for it. It's typically pretty obvious if you selected any of their fee-based options, but many, many things on the site are free. So I'm just going to click that I want to have an image, and it'll say that it's preparing my image, and as soon as it's done, it'll download it to my computer. Because I picked only free items, then I got that image on my computer for free. So pretty straightforward, and like I said, the power is in all these lovely layouts that they give you to play with. Plenty of, fantastic designs that will definitely spark ideas for you. We're just looking at one of the sizes that they provide, but remember that there's all those different sizes, and for each of the different sizes, there's more and more and more layouts available to you. So check it out for your desktop publishing needs, perhaps for signs for church or school or whatever it may be. I think there is lots of potential with Canva.com. All right, thus ends the show and tell. And before I forget, I'm going to try to type the address, wells.net/WELSTechConf. Let's see if that website comes up. I don't think my keyboard is worth the land that it's taken up at this point. It's a really bad keyboard. But it did come up for me. So I will share my screen. And here is the WELSTech Conference 2015 website. Just wanted to remind you that we have officially announced a summer conference next year, July 9th through 11th, at the Country Springs Hotel and Conference Center in Waukesha, Wisconsin, just down the road from the Center for Mission Ministry. We will be meeting and talking all things tech and ministry. And right now we need those of you who have tech and ministry experience to consider being presenters at the conference. We're looking for all types of topics. Let's see what it says here. Anything from computer networking to Bible software to video conferencing to security to photography to specific software like Shepherd Staff or Power School, and everything in between. We want to have lots of different tracks for people to take advantage of, depending on what their interests are in terms of technology and ministry. We've put together a form that you can fill out to describe your ideas for a session that you could present. And guess what? If you come and present for us, you get a free ride into the conference. I'm guessing the conference registration is, well, I think it even says here, $199 for early bird or $225 after the early bird deadline. So you can save yourself up to $225 by coming and presenting a couple of breakout sessions at the WELSTech conference. And it's total win-win for us because we get to learn from you and your experience. So please consider it. Again, the web address is wells.net/WELSTechConf. And we look forward to including you in our presenter lineup. All right, I'm going to move right along then to our community feedback, and I have a couple of links to share. Via DGO, we learned about visualbiblealive.com, and this was from Pastor Tim Wagner, and it is a free image site. You can get individual images on different Bible and religious topics, people, and there's even an inspirational index. So just a couple of different ways you can access the images, or you can use a search term in the search box. So if we click on people and you're looking for something, let's see, who's a popular person? Well, we could go for Jesus. He's on here. You can see all different images. There's some hand-drawn type imagery, all different kinds of images, and if you are interested in one, when you click on it, it does have an overlay, but if you click the free download, it will download your image to your computer, and it won't have any kind of a watermark or overlay on it. So, Visual Bible Alive. Pastor Wagner commented that it's a great complement to a page like freebibleimages.org. So between the two of those, you ought to be able to find imagery on all different Bible topics. Next up, we had a link from Jason Winjet, who sent us to New Vision's Cloud Lab, which is a compilation site with scripts for Google apps. So many of them have a classroom focus. We've talked about some of these before on the podcast, like Autocrat and Doctopus and others. G-Class folders, I think we talked about that. PageMeister, I'm pretty sure we've mentioned before on the podcast as well. So it looks like some really awesome scripts available here. If you're a Google Apps for Education school, you might want to check these out. And also from DGO and also Google Centric, image search tools that every teacher must know. So ideas for searching for images, in particular using Google search. You can search looking for color schemes of images and different types of images like faces or photos or clip art or line drawings. So thanks, Jason Schmidt, for image search tricks every teacher must know. Got to get a few links in via Pinterest. The first is to a blog post from Cool Cat Teacher called the 15 Best Google Drive Add-ons in Education. So these would be kind of extensions or add-ons that do more with your Google Drive, and many of them are education focused, like EasyBib, which integrates right into Google Docs and gives you a bibliography builder as you're doing documents. MindMeister for mind mapping, a tool called Track Changes, a table of contents tool, a thesaurus tool, an extended template gallery in case you're missing a lot of templates when you use Google Drive, text help, study skills highlighting tools, and the list goes on and on. There's all kinds of tools here that I think would be really helpful in a classroom setting, including document merge, and even a link to openclipart.org where you can bring clip art right into your documents. So check out this list of top 15 Google add-ons. And then finally, a link from Pinterest to TubeChop, TubeChop.com, where you can put in a URL for a YouTube video and then get just a segment of that video. So you can tell it a starting point and an ending point, and you'll get a link that just plays a part of a video. So it may be a 15-minute video and you only want to use 30 seconds of it. You can specify the exact time range that you want and you'll get a specific link that only gives you that time range. So TubeChop.com. All right, guys, we already talked about next week on the podcast where we'll be looking at networking and all the different aspects of hardware to support computer networks. And so really, just to wrap things up on today's podcast, I have a video that I want to share with you in the show notes. The video is titled Good Night iPad, and we're adding this to our WELSTech presentations and teaching videos playlist that we've begun. It's a fun tongue-in-cheek version of Goodnight Moon, but this time with a family that has a lot of digital gadgets and a funny modern-day bedtime story. We actually used this in our school for a family reading night. We had a family reading night, and we closed with some bedtime stories for everyone. We turned out the lights and told bedtime stories, and this was one that everybody laughed at and enjoyed. Good Night iPad. So check it out. It's on the WELSTech playlist. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I thank the live viewers. They didn't give me any questions or comments, but I appreciated not being alone on the podcast. And I'm really looking forward to next week. Actually, next week, Martin and I will be together because next week is Final Web Training Week at the Center for Mission and Ministry. So I'll be traveling to Waukesha to join him. Specifically, we'll be on the podcast side by side. Looking forward to seeing you guys and talking further next week on WELSTech. Thanks for watching.